You ever notice how someone can fix a room while you're still talking? Mid-sentence, mid-story, their hand just reaches out. They rotate the mug so the handle faces out. They smooth the edge of a pillow. They straighten a stack of magazines like they're negotiating peace. If you're that person, you know the feeling. The room isn't loud, but your mind is. And if you live with that person, you probably have your own story. Why do they act like my backpack on the chair is a crime? Here's the first thing that changes everything. Most people who need order aren't chasing perfection. They're chasing silence inside their head. Because for them, clutter isn't just stuff. It's 100 tiny signals asking to be processed at the same time. A jacket on the chair becomes a ping. A pile of papers becomes 10 pings. A messy counter becomes a full group chat exploding. So when they straighten the magazines, it's not, let me fix your house. It's, let me turn the volume down in my nervous system so I can stay here with you. And this is where relationships get complicated. Order can look like judgment, even when it's actually self-protection. The more the order person tries to calm their brain, the more the other person feels judged. Nobody means to hurt anyone, but it still hurts. So what's really happening when things are just slightly off? Here's a quick test. Imagine you're trying to read a paragraph on your phone while someone keeps tapping the screen, sliding a notification down, then pushing it back up. You can still read, but you'll reread the same line 3 times. You'll feel irrationally irritated, and by the end, you'll be tired for no real reason. That's what visual clutter does to certain brains. Not because they're obsessed with tidiness, because their attention gets interrupted by objects the way your reading gets interrupted by notifications. Here's the twist. The person who needs order isn't always more controlling. Sometimes they're simply doing more work just to feel normal in the same environment. They're paying an attention tax everyone else doesn't even notice. And that difference shows up in the same room in 2 completely different ways. Person A walks in and their brain filters. It highlights only what matters. Their attention is like a spotlight. Person B walks in and their brain doesn't spotlight, it floodlights. Everything lights up at once. Every object registers as unfinished information. And if they're already anxious, that floodlight becomes unbearable. This is why I can't think in here isn't dramatic for them. It's literal. Now add a real-life pattern. For many people, the need for order isn't constant. It spikes. When life is smooth, they can tolerate some mess. But when something outside feels unstable, work stress, relationship uncertainty, money pressure, suddenly the house becomes the battleground. Not because the house matters more, but because it's the one place their body believes it can regain stability. That's the trade-off. Order can make you brilliant, reliable, efficient. The person who never loses the passport, the one who remembers deadlines, the one who quietly saves everyone from chaos. But the same system that makes you steady can also make you rigid. And when you're stressed, the need for order doesn't feel like a preference. It feels like survival. Now here's the turning point most people miss. Fights don't start because the room is messy. They start because the wrong sentence lands like an attack. Why can't you just clean up? That sounds like, why can't you just be different? Try this instead. I'm not mad at you. I'm overloaded. My brain is getting loud right now. Not you're messy. Not you don't respect me. I'm reaching my limit. When you say it that way, you're not asking for perfection. You're asking for a small act of care, like lowering the music when someone has a headache. And suddenly the other person can respond with empathy instead of defense. Now for a 5-minute agreement that saves months of resentment. Don't divide the house into clean and dirty. Divide it into signal zones. One tiny area that must stay clear. A landing pad for keys and bags. A corner of the counter. A small spot on the desk. Not because mess is immoral, because your nervous system needs one guaranteed quiet space to recover. This is how both people win. The order person gets relief without policing the whole home. The creative chaos person keeps freedom without feeling judged. But here's the deeper layer. For a lot of people, the need for order isn't about the room at all. It's about what the room reminds their body of. Think of your nervous system like a smoke alarm. In some homes, it's calibrated normally. Toast burns, it beeps once, you wave a towel, it settles. In other homes, it's set ultra-sensitive. One tiny wisp, and it screams like the building is on fire. Now replace smoke with visual disorder. A few items out of place, and the body reacts as if something is wrong, even if nothing is actually wrong. That's why compassion matters. If you treat it like a character flaw, they'll defend it harder. If you treat it like a nervous system signal, you can work with it. Now let's get practical. Here's the simplest test that tells the truth without shaming you. When things aren't in order, do you feel annoyed or do you feel unsafe? Annoyed says, I prefer it another way. Unsafe says, my body thinks something bad is coming. Green flag order looks like this. You tidy, you feel better, and you can stop. You can adapt when life gets messy. You can prioritize the relationship over the arrangement. Red flag order looks like this. You tidy, you feel better for 10 minutes. Then your brain invents a new problem so it can chase that relief again. It's not satisfaction, it's chasing quiet. And here's the part people don't expect. The red flag isn't how clean your house is. It's how small your world becomes. If you avoid inviting people over because they might disturb your system. If you can't rest until everything is perfect. If you're late to something meaningful because you got trapped rearranging something meaningless. That's when order stops being a tool and starts being the boss. If you're hearing yourself in that, listen carefully. You're not broken. You're not ridiculous. Your brain learned a strategy that worked, at least once. It gave you control when life felt uncontrollable. It gave you relief when you didn't know how else to calm down. The upgrade is not stop needing order. The upgrade is learning to keep order without using it as anesthesia. Here's a 2-minute reset that helps. Pick one anchor. Not the whole room, not the whole house. One anchor, a clear square on the counter, a tidy corner of your desk, the top of your nightstand, small enough that it doesn't become a project. Because your nervous system doesn't need perfection. It needs a signal, a stable point that says, I'm not drowning. Then set a timer for 90 seconds, not 10 minutes, not until it feels right. 90 seconds interrupts the spiral. During those 90 seconds, do one thing. Move objects away from the anchor. That's it. No reorganizing drawers. No deep cleaning. No while I'm here. Because while I'm here is how a reset becomes a rabbit hole. When the timer ends, stop, sit down, and label what's happening in your body. My chest is tight. My brain wants to keep going. I'm looking for certainty. Naming moves the problem from the room to the nervous system. It teaches you, I can feel discomfort without obeying it. Now, if you live with someone who needs order, here's the most supportive move that doesn't erase you. Don't argue about the mess when they're overloaded. Ask one question. Do you want help lowering the noise or do you want space? That question offers care without surrender. It says, I see you. And it also says, we're not turning this into a power struggle. And if you're the person who needs order, here's the matching sentence that saves love in the moment. I'm not upset with you. I'm overstimulated. I need a reset. That one line prevents your stress from landing like a personal attack. Now here's the big payoff. This was never about clean counters. It's about respecting different brain settings in the same shared space. Some people treat clutter like background scenery. Other people don't get that filter. Their mind keeps checking the room whether they asked it to or not. So if you need order, here's a gentle way to explain it. And when the space is visually loud, I get overloaded faster. I'm not blaming you. I'm trying to stay calm so I can be present with you. That turns a complaint into a confession. And confessions invite care. If you're living with someone who needs order, try this. Ask, what's the smallest change that lowers the noise for you? A clear corner, a clean sink at night. One landing pad for keys and bags. Because the goal isn't a perfect home. The goal is a home where nobody's nervous system is constantly on trial. And one last twist. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is not to clean more. It's to stop turning order into a moral scoreboard. Messy doesn't mean careless. Neat doesn't mean controlling. They're often just two different ways of staying functional in a complicated life. So here's my message to you, whoever you are in this story. You don't have to apologize for how your brain protects you, but you do have to take responsibility for how you express it. You don't have to become someone else to love someone else well. Before you go, tell me this in the comments. Are you the quiet space brain that needs order to breathe? Or the creative chaos brain that feels alive in disorder? And if this put words to something you couldn't explain before, share it with the person you keep arguing with. Sometimes one good sentence saves months of tension. And if you want the next video, we're going deeper into something connected to this. Why some people don't just need order in their space. They need it in their routines, their plans, and their relationships. And what happens when life refuses to cooperate.